Good morning, everybody. At least it's an early morning for us. This is the Thomas Galgani Show. I'm your host. You guessed it, Thomas Galgani. And today we have a very special guest. It is my brother, Steven, and Steven Galgani. And he's been an awesome figure in my life. Not just my brother, but we've done a lot of cool things together. And I figured I would kind of let you share a little bit about yourself. Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, same. You've been a huge figure in my life as well.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, husband, father of three. I've worked in hospitality the last several years, and then right now I'm pretty much a writer on Substack, among other things. But
yeah, so can we get into that just briefly?
Sure.
You do have a monthly newsletter.
Yeah.
What is it, and where can people sign up?
So it's just a monthly newsletter covering any topic that falls into the hospitality or service industry realm. A lot of it is food focused, like restaurants or bars and stuff like that. Right now it's just one post a month, but I plan on posting one thing on different topics each month. So right now it's a newsletter covering anything that might be new, like a new restaurant or something along those lines. And then I plan to add some other stuff too that'll be a little bit more juicy. So
yeah, you guys are going to want to check this one out. Everybody that I talk to, everybody that we know, they've gone out of their way to tell Steve, and I hear it too, that they really enjoy reading the newsletter. It's kind of laid back, but I think sophisticated, and just it's really well written, man.
Like, thank you.
I like it. Yeah. But you were saying, so like bars, restaurants, stuff like that. Is there anything in particular? Because I don't think we've actually talked about this. It's mostly local bars, but are you trying to kind of curate or focus on a specific type of restaurant or bar?
No, nothing in particular. The only criteria is that it has really good service.
What if it's like really good food or drinks, but the service is okay?
I probably won't cover it. I'm not going to give anybody I'm not going to write anything bad about anybody, but
okay.
If it's bad service, I probably just won't cover it.
That's the top.
But I haven't really experienced that much, to be honest. So
in Sacramento.
Yeah, in Sacramento or
Right.
Anywhere for that matter. But yeah, it's mostly focused in the Sacramento area because that's where I live.
We live here. Yeah.
Gotta have a little bit of pride.
But are you like that is one thing I meant to ask you though, is like, are you going to go into if you travel and stuff, are you going to cover places outside of Sac?
Yeah. We have a couple trips this summer coming up. We're going to a wedding. My wife and I are going to a wedding in New Orleans. So I'll be doing a special on New Orleans following that. And then the same thing, we're doing a trip to Savannah, Georgia, and I'll be covering that a little bit too. So as the opportunity presents itself, I will cover other places.
Okay. Nice. Do you guys already have places in mind that you definitely want to check out, or things you want to do besides the wedding while you guys are there?
A few places, but I've gotten better at, I guess, traveling and enjoying the experience over the years. So I try to not have like an itinerary or something like that. Mm-hmm. I try to just have, even this probably sounds like over the top, but I just have
probably does. No.
I just have a list of locations that I'll put down on my notes in my phone, and it's a list of locations, and then I'll have like the actual neighborhood it's in or something. So if we find ourselves in a certain neighborhood in this town, then I can look up what I've already searched, and I noticed that this restaurant is only a few blocks from here. We can check it out, and it's on my list. So
okay.
But if I don't make it to everywhere on my list, that's not a big deal or anything.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Yeah, and for one of the things, if you're okay, kind of getting into it, you have a background in the hospitality industry, and I know like now a lot of your work is with sales and stuff like that, and just communicating with people, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to get into any of that, because that was also kind of leading up to the COVID time? And it was fun. Actually, that came up on the last podcast I did. That wasn't even intentional with the. I'm talking about COVID.
Oh yeah.
We didn't even mean to talk about that. It just came up because Mike, my guest that I was speaking with, he, had a pretty significant serious point in his life happen around that time. Probably like a lot of people. So yeah, I wasn't even meaning to talk about COVID in particular, but I do think that's an interesting point, and I'd be interested to hear your take on kind of the hospitality industry in general, maybe things that you've learned from that line of work or during that time frame, anything that you're willing to share.
Yeah. I mean, I got into hospitality following my time in the military, which we can get into on another episode maybe or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I started working at it's like a boutique hotel in downtown Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people it looks like the Continental from John Wick.
Yeah,
because it kind of does, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, no, I worked at the front desk, and I think I just enjoyed it because you're interacting with so many people. It's a great place to learn how to talk on the fly with pretty much every kind of personality that there is, because so many people come to the hotel throughout the day and throughout the week.
Yeah. But you weren't just like at the front desk, so to speak. You were also kind of in management, right, for a lot of that, and kind of coordinating other aspects that went on around the hotel too.
Yeah. I started as a front desk agent, and then I think just like a combination of luck, and then I was there. I was able to get promoted a few times in a fairly short amount of time. That's not like a pat on the back for me. I'm just saying positions opened up because people left, and then I was at least dependable. So I was given the opportunity to step up into those roles. So as I got into like the more management side, then yes, I kind of oversaw more of the overall guest service around the hotel. I didn't manage there's a really good restaurant there. I didn't manage the restaurant or anything like that, but a lot of the times, there's a lot of overlap between the two because we have to work closely with them as well. So yeah,
for sure. I mean, that's something that we've always kind of enjoyed, though, is like even before you had that job, is like going to cool places, like, and like you said, the places with good service in particular, and just having those cool experiences. Did your perspective on hospitality, or maybe even people in general, change at all once you had that job?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess not really. Maybe my perspective on people, just because I got to know what irritated people more. Mm-hmm. So if somebody walks in and they're in a bad mood, you kind of have to quickly find out how to turn that around without just like throwing free stuff at them, but but through like bringing up certain conversation points to turn their day around, or at least their check-in process to the hotel. So I think my view of hospitality didn't necessarily change, other than my understanding of the amount of work that goes into that kind of thing.
Meaning it was a lot more.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a lot more than I expected as far as providing a good service. I think it's easy to provide good service on your own as an individual, but what's really hard is getting a team together, getting everybody on the same page, and then having them everybody provide the same level of service across the board. That's the hard part.
what would you say to somebody who's considering a career in hospitality? Any recommendations, or just in general, what would you say to somebody who's maybe, coming out of high school or college, or maybe they're in college, something like that, and they're considering a career in either the restaurant business or they're considering a career in hospitality? What would you say?
I would give it a shot. I mean, you don't really have much to lose by by trying it. So I would just try to find a place that you enjoy. Like, try to find a place that you would actually go to if you didn't work there. Because I mean, you're on the property for such a long time. It helps if you actually like the place. So,
okay,
like the place where I worked it's a cool building. It's a cool place to be in general. So being there for 12 to 24 hours at a time, it made it a little bit easier, because even though you're there such a long time, you're thinking like, wow, this is pretty cool. So
yeah, no, and that place is awesome too. I thought it was really cool that you were there, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I even learned a lot from the things you were telling me about the different tactics you were taking to kind of organize events and stuff like that. It was almost like a form of kind of guerrilla marketing, where you're like collaborating with other people who had similar interests and similar, kind of goals and stuff like that. Do you feel like since COVID's happened, I mean, this might be obvious to a lot of people, but like that things have changed, but in your perspective, what you can see on the other side and knowing what having been on the other side in the hospitality industry, do you think since COVID things have kind of changed a lot in that, whether it be hotels, restaurants and stuff? How have things kind of changed?
I mean, yeah, obviously it's changed in the sense that everybody has this thing in the back of their mind that like COVID could happen again or something like that, because before COVID there wasn't a COVID or another pandemic for people to compare it to.
For sure.
And if anybody brings up like, but the Spanish flu, it's like, okay, well, I'm not 150 years old, so that was not on anybody's mind.
Yeah.
I don't travel as much as I used to with the kids. No, not intentionally, just with the kids and everything like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
just the way it plays out. But no, I think people, as far as like the service level, I think the places that want to provide good service still do that.
Yeah.
You can't really take it for granted if you are a place, because business is hard enough. One of the things that we would always push was worry about like what you can control.
Okay.
And your attitude and just willingness to put in good service is certainly something that you can control no matter where you work. So if you're in the restaurant business or hotel business and it's already super competitive, you don't really have a choice but not to provide that. So
I've heard some people like Anthony Bourdain, I remember he talked about the restaurant industry as being kind of like you're putting on a facade on the outside, when in the back it's just complete chaos and dysfunction in a lot of ways. Do you ever feel like there was some of that, or did you, on the at least the front of your mind, were you more focused on just being authentic, transparent with people? How do you see that kind of aspect of it as far as like what you're showing to people?
I mean, I think obviously I didn't have anywhere near the experience that Anthony Bourdain did, but and I never worked in a restaurant, or I did work in a restaurant, but
yeah,
that's not where the bulk of my experience is. It might be that way for a kitchen,
but not so much for like the hotel business though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Cool, man. And I appreciate you sharing that stuff. And you got to meet a lot of celebrities, you know, like we don't have to go into anybody specific or anything like that, but I thought that was kind of cool too.
No, it was. I think the best thing that I took away from that was to not, because I got starstruck a few times, and it was kind of in my head. I was thinking, wow, it's embarrassing.
Can't do that.
I know.
But maybe you feel that way, but maybe it wasn't clear. Maybe you didn't actually show that you were starstruck. How do you feel like you?
Yeah, I mean,
like, what do you mean?
I'd like to think that, but you know.
Like, did you just kind of stared a little bit?
No, I didn't stare or anything. It's just kind of freeze up for a second, and then
you know,
but nothing insane, no crazy stories or anything like that.
Dude, yeah, I don't know. I don't even think that's something to worry about though, because I've heard, you know, we have another family member who's worked around celebrities, you know, very wealthy, famous people a lot, and he's talked about how they kind of expect it. At least a lot of them, you know, they like that look. So that's not everybody, obviously. I'm sure, you know, most of them are just people at the end of the day, but it is a different lifestyle, and I think that's interesting that it's like how they're gonna react, you know. You never know. But anyways, man, that stuff is really cool. I mean, would you ever see yourself wanting to open up a restaurant, hotel, or any place in particular, having both worked in the hospitality industry and now, you know, you kind of write about it on the side and, you know, do stuff like that?
It would have to be like down the road, and then I'd have to have a lot of
capital.
Yes. Yeah. That's a lot of work and risk. So that'd be something to reevaluate when I have more free time outside of work anyway, because you would pretty much merge any free time you have with your professional life. So
for sure, man. Yeah. Cool. Well, I want, just real quick though, I'm curious, because I know we've been into like, you know, the whole like speakeasy scene, different stuff like that, and also coffee, different setups that cafes have, stuff like that. If today, right now, you had all the capital that you could ever hope for, what type of place would you open up today?
It'd be like a gastro pub type of thing. So a comfortable environment, laid back atmosphere, but really great service, food and drinks. So
okay. You've touched on, you know, obviously the importance of good service. We all like good service. What is good service to you?
I think just kind of showing empathy for the guest and what they're looking for. You kind of need to understand what they're looking for before they approach you. You should be able to just pick up on that stuff really quickly. I think obviously you need to anticipate what their needs are, everything like that. And then just do your best to arrange their time at your establishment in a way that best meets what they're looking for, or what you think would be the best experience for them, because sometimes they don't have any idea what they might think they know what they're looking for,
but they don't know.
But they have no idea. Yeah, because I mean, you're supposed to be the expert as
of what, like whatever place that you have, like you need to know everything. Yeah.
And that doesn't mean if you're a bartender, you should just, like, if somebody orders a martini, give them something totally different. You
don't really want that.
Yeah, no, but like,
but dude, we've had that. I've had that happen where it's something very similar to that, where it's been a good experience though. Man, I took Audrey. Audrey's my wife, by the way, and she one of the dates that I took her on that was really fun when we first started dating was this new bowling alley in LA that had this really cool bar. And so it was kind of a place to just have, you do something, like you're not just drinking, right? There's like something to do. So you can go bowling and then enjoy, an upscale cocktail, something really good. And whatever she ordered, I think the bartender, he said like, yeah, it has, egg whites in it. Cause she asked about that. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't want to have that. I don't think I would like that. And then he totally just kind of ignored that and said, trust me, you want that. Like, he goes, it was something like, trust me, you do. Trust me, you'll like it, And then she seemed kind of taken aback. I don't know if she remembers it that way, but I remember she was kind of surprised. And she's like, I mean, okay, like these cocktails aren't cheap, but like, I guess I'll trust you, you know? Tom's got it. So, but yeah, and then she loved it. And then ever since then, she's like super, super into it. So, into any cocktail that might have, egg whites in it. So that's just one small example of like, yeah, I agree with you. It's like, you got to be the expert and sometimes be a little bit more confident in whatever you're serving or suggesting,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sweet. Well, I kind of want to also get into some. I got to reset the cameras real quick. In just a second, so we'll take just like a 2-minute break. Take a quick break.
Okay.
And come right back. All right, and we're back. What I was about to say was that I do want to get into some kind of current events or just current topics, media, stuff like that. But before we get into that or shift gears at all, is there anything else, that you'd like to add with the service industry, kind of hospitality in general, what service means to you and kind of, just anything in that you, on that, topic that you'd like to add?
I mean, like I said, a lot of it is about the team, and you need to have a really good team to provide good quality stuff. I think the biggest thing to avoid is getting too cocky or, for one thing, like getting upset with the guest or whoever if they're a little more demanding or something along those lines. You just need to know like what. It goes back to what I said earlier about understanding people. You need to know what would make them happy or have a good time, but you also need to understand what will set people off. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I've had over the years is just that I think what people dislike the most is being misunderstood and treated in a way that makes them feel like the person that you're seeing them as is completely different than who they think they are.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I don't have a great example off the top of my head, but
or of people flying off maybe, or getting upset.
Yeah, but if somebody's a genuine person and they come up with a reasonable complaint, and then you treat them as if you give them a tone or something that's like, okay, like this, if you start treating them as if it's obvious that you think that they're like a difficult person, then they might not like go off on you, but they're probably not going to feel great, because then they're going to think, I just ruined this person's day. Or and that's an interesting point too, what you said about like, don't treat them as the person that they don't see themselves as. So it's almost like if in your head you're confident that they are this other person that they don't think that they are, if you recognize that they're different, then it's almost like you need to kind of mirror the person that they think they are a little bit. Yeah, not to a point where like if somebody's being like a huge jerk or something like that, like, okay, then you maybe like change your demeanor in a way so that they get the idea without you telling them off or something like that.
Yeah. Because, and I don't know if you agree with this, but it almost gets into the point of you want to serve the other people in the establishment. Well, like by serving everybody else is like, you can't put up with a certain amount, like, or you can only put up with so much.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Sorry. And I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Because that's super interesting. I didn't actually think about it that way before. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think another point I just wanted to cap off was what I had mentioned about the
and for anybody watching or listening, we got my dog Charlie's in here, so he's kind of distracting a little bit. Charlie, come over here, buddy. Charlie, go. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
You're making him feel that he's not the dog that he thinks he is.
Good boy. Good boy, Charlie. Good boy.
No, what I was going to say before, I think I touched on it a little bit. Managing a team and getting everybody on the same page, how that's the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to note that that's not something that I perfected before.
Okay.
Because that's something that is like an ongoing thing, I think.
You feel like people still need to work on that, like, and
yeah,
that it's a,
and it's not something that I had perfected before.
Oh, okay.
My time was up, so yeah.
I see. Okay. Did you think about that before you started working at the hotel?
Yeah.
So you were already kind of like had that in mind.
Yeah.
Is that just from being a customer yourself?
About the team aspect?
Well, the team, but then also just how you want to make people feel from the service side.
Oh, that was something that I thought about while I was working there, but it was just over my interactions with people and stuff like that I came to that conclusion.
Cool, man. So are there any books or maybe even movies, anything that you would recommend people should check out for knowing how to provide good service in any element of the hospitality or service industry?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great books out there. The one where I'm actually thinking of the name that comes to mind is Unreasonable Hospitality. I forget the guy's name, but I think it was.
I remember
he
opened
you mentioned one of the best restaurants in the world, I believe, in New York, and he wrote a book about it. That's a good one. But
yeah,
as far as movies are concerned, there's not really that many movies about just service in general.
But maybe some
on
good
the hotel
lessons.
side. But
yeah.
There's a lot of good like food movies, restaurant movies
that show good service and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like some of the best ones. It's a pretty, I don't want to say it's a stupid movie, but I don't think it's, since I never worked in a restaurant, I don't think I've heard that it's not super accurate as far as entertainment value goes. I think Burnt is pretty fun to watch.
I knew you were going to bring up that one.
Yeah.
Well, but but you were still familiar with that side of it because being at the hotel, you would still kind of interact with those guys.
Yeah.
And everything you shared with me that you learned is like, it actually is like that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There's like one scene, aside from what they show you in the movie, but the things that happen, but also there's that one line where he says like the violence, the heat, the intensity. You were saying that you've heard it's just like that.
Yeah. Well, and then, I mean, what I like about that movie is, again, I'm not saying it's like an accurate movie on the.
Yes, you are. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a documentary.
But the way that he talks about the food, I think it's super over the top. But if you apply that same kind of thing to like your service ability or whatever, I was always trying to go for that. So if you could just apply like that kind of seriousness to a simple thing like a check-in or any kind of guest interaction, if you like make it quick, accurate, give the person all the knowledge that they need, and then make them walk away feeling like, wow, I really made like the right choice come to this place.
Yeah.
Then that's ideal. So
Yeah. And then they tell their friends and family about it too. They tell people about it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, man. Sweet. So getting a little bit into kind of current events, what's going on, or I guess just in popular media, the new Roadhouse just came out.
Yeah.
The documentary.
Great service industry movie.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say it's a perfect example of what you should do is just, from all those guys, it's like all angles,
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So you said you liked it though.
I did. Yeah, I did.
It was honestly a little bit more violent than I was expecting. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but I almost feel like I don't enjoy movies with that much senseless violence now. Like I used to be all into it, like, oh, it's like fun, whatever. Now, honestly, it's just like it's just a bit much. Like, I don't know what it is. I kind of like the action movies that have a little bit more thought into them. John Wick, I think, is a great example of that. But even that, like the sequels,
the first one,
yeah. But the other ones, like, I still like them. The cinematography is great, even a lot of the character development and stuff. But for whatever reason, yeah, for me personally, it's just a bit of a turnoff when the death count is that high and it's just this kind of senseless brutality and violence. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Well, back to what you said about Roadhouse.
About what to do. That it's an example of what to do in the service industry.
No, about it being too violent.
Oh yeah.
I guess I disagree. I didn't think it was violent enough. It didn't even break like after watching John Wick 5 or 4 or whatever. I need my body count at least in the 3 digits. It didn't even get anywhere close to that. So, and spoiler alert, nobody got their throat ripped out like they did in the original. So
yeah,
really it was kind of a letdown there, but I did like the movie overall. So
that's cool, man.
And actually the first Roadhouse, the original one, there actually is that scene that is a decent as far as like a service industry scene. It's actually pretty funny when he's they didn't recreate it, unfortunately. Well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but they didn't recreate it in the new one. But in the original, I don't know if you remember when he establishes himself at the bar.
Yeah.
And then he fires everybody that doesn't belong there. But then he tells everybody to be nice, and he just says it like over and over. And normally it wouldn't sound cool, but Patrick Swayze says it in a way where it's as if he's been alive for 1,000 years and he has all this knowledge.
No, that was one of my favorite scenes.
Like,
that's one of the best scenes.
Be nice. That's great that's great advice for.
Yeah, if you need to, like, and it goes through every situation that if you need to ask somebody to leave, be nice. If you need to throw somebody out, or I can't remember exactly what, but it goes to even the physical force. If you need to apply physical force, be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. That was one of my favorite parts, and I am surprised they didn't have any kind of scene like that. There was no scene where Jake Gyllenhaal was addressing the staff at the bar. They only had that one moment where he was talking to the guy when he tells him what to do. When one of the one of the customers had a knife, and he tells him like, "Oh, just step back, and then you pop him."
Yeah, I know. It's like, geez. Even when I was watching that, I was thinking like, man,
I'm not getting paid enough to do like to do this. Like,
what?
Like, do I get a gun? Like, what? I mean,
yeah. And it's because it was like, that is kind of funny. Like the original one, he's a great fighter. Everybody knows him, even though, at least for Jake Gyllenhaal's character, he was like in the UFC or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the original one, he was just a bouncer that everybody knew about by name.
A mysterious guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
He had the great advice, like we said, about be nice, and then he follows it up with another great tip where like, take the largest man and smash his knee, and then he'll fall like a stone or something.
He says that in the original?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's great service advice. And then no, but that was missing from this new one was there wasn't a scene where he addresses the staff or anything like that, because it was kind of like he shows up and the place is already like, all the staff are already on board with making it a functional place.
Yeah.
And it pretty much is functional. The only reason it's not is because the bad guy's like sending in his goons to like destroy the place.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So it was different. Whereas the first one was more like of an internal problem. Yeah. You know?
It was like both, I guess.
Yeah. For anybody hearing that sound, that is our dog, Charlie, making the moaning sound there. Thanks, Charlie. He's his first appearance on the podcast. It's early right now, so I didn't want him upstairs waking up my son and everything.
The most I guess the most realistic thing too is like, from the newest Roadhouse, was that I think it applies in the movie and it probably applies in real life. If you see Conor McGregor walk into your bar, you should probably get out.
Oh man!
Before he punches somebody in the face.
Yeah, that's. I know, that's interesting that he's in that movie. Yeah, and I mean that was quite a performance. It just, it was intense for sure.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I was sober enough, or sorry, I was too sober.
For the movie. Yeah, it's definitely one of those you want to have a beer and like some nachos or something like that. Kind of enjoy it. Cool, man. Well, as we kind of approach the end here, we probably have time for one more topic or one more thing. First off, how, I don't know, sorry if you already mentioned it. How do people sign up for your newsletter again?
Just go to substack.com.
Okay.
Steve Galgani monthly. Steve Galgani monthly.
Okay.
That's the name of the newsletter.
Full name is Steven with a PH.
Yeah.
But it's for this, you just have Steve, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Steve Galgani. Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
I've always gone by Steve because it's not that serious,
It is not. No, it's not. But you're not a serious person. So.
Yeah, not in any way. Just when it comes to Roadhouse reviews.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, as we come to a close, though, I feel like there's a lot. Honestly, I might need to start doing more of a long form podcast in this, because I feel like we're just getting into conversation a little bit. And
yeah, we could go on forever.
I know, just go on for hours, but. For this one, as we come to a close, because wait. By the way, what do you have going on today? So, like, you wanted to do this earlier. Are you guys heading out? Doing a big trip today or something?
Well, Katie's going up to Portland with her mom.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so that's
okay.
Pretty much. And then I'm with Jane and Lizzie for the day. I'm pretty excited. It hasn't been like just the three of us for a while, so probably go get some good lunch somewhere, go to Jane's skating lesson.
Oh, nice.
Figure out something fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Well, as we wrap up, is there anything that any last come on. I don't know if the audio is picking up Charlie, but it's pretty funny. Anyways, as we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to touch on, or any messages that you anything you'd like to put out for people in general, either that are considering career in hospitality, like, you know, you kind of mentioned before, anything else that you think we should leave people with?
Just like I said before, maybe just give it a shot. I mean, it doesn't have to be the rest of your life. I don't really work in hospitality anymore.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I took a lot of useful stuff away from it,
Mm-hmm.
and it set me up pretty well for the job that I have now. So, especially working something in most cases, I mean, at a restaurant or a hotel, coffee shop or whatever, if you're interacting with dozens of people throughout the day that you've never met before, that's a pretty useful skill to be able to get along with anybody.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's not the same as, I think one of the problems now is today that people think getting along with anybody means being fake and molding your personality or warping your personality to make sure that you get along with somebody. That's not what it means. It just means, you know, like smile, have a good time, make sure that the other person understands that you're there to show them a good time. And then, you know, if they're a difficult customer or whatever, then move on with your life after they leave.
Make sure they don't come back.
Yeah.
Give them no. But yeah. Okay. And yeah, man, I think that's a common theme that I've kind of been recognizing too, is that people want to be heard. You know, no matter whatever line of work that is, just for me personally, I have a long way to go in business, but I can say that all of the success that I have had, like, you know, whatever success I have had, it's always because I've been more empathetic or trying to understand people and making sure that I'm listening to the people I'm trying to serve. Basically, it's all about service. I feel like whatever industry it is, you know, it's like the big thing is talking about results, you know, but I don't really feel like you can get results in business if you're not trying to understand people, you know, and whether that's sales or marketing, it's like you need to, or whatever it is, you got to get into the minds of other people. And yeah, be empathetic, man.
Yeah. Be nice.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I feel like, again, thank you for coming on, by the way. Thank you for doing this, Steve. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you, and this is our first time recording it, and our first time actually having a conversation this long. No, I'm just kidding. That's why it's funny, man. It's like I feel like there's a lot I want to keep talking about with you, but yeah, I think, you know, we'll just have to have you back on again.
Yeah.
We'll do another one of these soon. And again, everybody have a good week. Have a good day. And anything else you want to close out on?
No, that was great. Great talk. Yeah. I'll definitely come back.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Well, thank you again, and take care, everybody.